I just want to make sure.
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure.
All right, thank you for coming. As you can see, we have a great group of people here today, and we're so grateful for the many people in our state who work together to fight crime. We'll turn the time over in a minute to our AG, Attorney General Sean Reyes. And then after that, we will listen to Chief Leo Lucy of our Attorney General's office talk about why we are here today, and also our Division Director of our Justice Division, Greg Brush, who will talk about what happens in the prosecution end of the investigations that we have. My name is Missy Larson. I'm Chief of Staff at the office. There's a couple of people that we need to recognize here today. Representative Angela Romero has been incredible on helping the process of the legislative process. Also, former Representative Jennifer Seelig, who is not here today. Senator sponsors, many have been involved in this effort, but Senator Hilliard and Senator Harper last year introduced some legislation. So thank you so much for being here, Angela. I'll turn the time over to the Attorney General.
Thank you, Lisa. You guys all uncomfortable over there? That was the intention. Thank you for being here. It means a lot to us. Welcome and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming this morning. And thank you to all of our partners who are here. It's a privilege to stand next to them. And although this isn't in my talking points, I thought it would be fitting to say that in light of some very tense national discussions about law enforcement and the communities that they protect and the police, I think it's a great thing that we can be here without controversy to talk about some really significant cases that are going forward in the state of Utah, thanks to the help and support of you, the public, the media, for giving attention to these critical issues, to legislators and executive branch members who, leaders in our state who've given us the resources that we need, and then really credit to these fine leaders in law enforcement and their teams. And I am going to, in a moment, take a second to introduce all of the partner agencies that have worked with us on these cases. And I do want to also acknowledge the presence of a number of the leaders of those offices who are standing here. I will tell you, assuredly, without consulting with any of them, that they would prefer to be standing or sitting in the back with their guys and their people. But we ask them to come forward. And I think it's a great show of solidarity to demonstrate when federal, state, county, city law enforcement works together with the public, with victim resource advocates, with the community, that we can accomplish great things. And for that, we appreciate, again, your attendance here. I think also, as we go about our busy daily lives, whether that's work or school, and deal with the stresses that we have, we may not be aware of the horror that far too many victims of human trafficking, child exploitation are enduring. And those horrors are evident and present in our own communities. And as wonderful as Utah is a place to live and have a business and raise a family, there are evil elements, and these are, again, the men and women on the front line who help us investigate and ultimately prosecute and then represent on appeal a number of these cases. So, checking a few more quick notes. I do, again, want to emphasize our appreciation with the media giving a voice to victims. I think by covering these issues and waking people up to the reality that is human trafficking or child sexual exploitation or a number of other crimes that we confront, by giving attention to that, you are also giving voice and emboldening victims and witnesses to come forward and not be afraid, and not stay in the shadows, and not continuing to endure the atrocities that they endure. I have with me a list of all of the participating agencies that have helped support and worked with us, shoulder to shoulder, in investigating these cases. And I would like to read the list. I think there are a number of them, and you'll probably see them on the slides. I hope I don't miss any, but let me begin with adult probation and parole, Bountiful Police Department, Clearfield Police Department, Davis County Attorney Investigations and the Davis County Sheriff's Office, the Department of Public Safety, Enforcement and Removal Operations, Homeland Security Investigations, Layton Police Department, Ogden Police Department, Park City Police Department, Pleasant Grove Police Department. I understand there's about half the Pleasant Grove PD here today for my list. Thank you for coming and your support. Sevier County Sheriff's Office, South Salt Lake Police Department, Summit County Sheriff's Office, Syracuse Police Department, Uinta County Sheriff's Office, Unified PD, United States Marshal's Office, Utah County Sheriff's Office, Vernal Police Department, West Valley City Police Department, Woods Cross Police Department, and the Asian Association of Utah, the Refugee and Immigration Center. Now, just to be clear, we have other law enforcement partners not mentioned here that are part of our Internet Crimes Against Children affiliate task force, also who are part of our Secure Strike Force. But these particular agencies are the ones who have worked and given manpower and resources to these cases. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge those law enforcement leaders who are here with us. Jim Hudspeth from Adult Probation and Parole, Chief Tom Ross from the Bountiful Police Department, Assistant Special Agent in Charge John Lyons, Department of Homeland Security. I'm glad I finally got that title, John. I've been calling him Director Lyons for the last couple of years. I've given him an informal promotion, I think, within his agency. Major Red from our great partners, the Department of Public Safety at the state level. Paul Capicchione, I hope that that's the proper pronunciation, from ERO. Chief Alan Swanson from Layton PD. From Ogden, I don't have Chief Ashman here, but from Park City PD, we do have Chief Wade Carpenter. And if I've missed anyone, I apologize, but these are wonderful law enforcement leaders, again, that I'm privileged to work with. A brief note or two about our task forces, and then I'm going to turn the time over to Chief Leo Lucy, who is the head of our investigative division in the Utah Attorney General's Office. Internet Crimes Against Task Force, many of you have heard of it. It's a nationwide, multi-jurisdictional task force that investigates and prosecutes individuals who use the internet to exploit children. And we work with great partners nationally, like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We have many affiliates throughout the state of Utah. Again, all these different law enforcement agencies at the federal, state, county, municipal level work together. And the Utah ICAC team and its affiliates have won numerous awards, even most recently as this year, a number of recognitions. We also, in the AG's office, have the responsibility and the privilege to oversee the Secure Strike Force, or the Secure Task Force. They investigate and prosecute major fraud, organized gun, drug, and human trafficking cases, and the creation of fraudulent government IDs and other documents. And many of those agencies here work with us, again, on a daily basis, investigating cases under the banner of the Utah State Secure Strike Force. The UTIP Task Force is a multidisciplinary human trafficking task force that implements victim-centered, trauma-informed, collaborative, and sustainable approaches to identify victims, investigate and prosecute cases, and address individualized needs of victims through comprehensive quality services for victims of all types of trafficking in the state of Utah. And the UTIP just recently won a federal grant to work hand in hand with our partners at the Utah Asian Association, with legislators like Representative Romero and many others on both sides of the aisle, to make sure that we put resources to victims. A lot of attention goes into the investigation and the prosecution of these cases, as it should, but the real heavy lifting, I believe, comes once we've liberated these victims from the hell in which they've been living, and then try to get them the resources that they need, mental, emotional, psychological assistance and support, so they can begin to heal, put their lives back together, educational opportunities, work and job opportunities, sometimes even help with their past criminal records, as we in law enforcement have evolved and started to change our laws to reflect the idea that we ought to not traumatize and re-victimize victims again. We're working towards trying to help these victims reintegrate back into life. Sometimes it's sanctuary, sometimes it's protection, whether they're testifying in a case or not. And on that final note, I might add, we do not always, in human trafficking cases that we are convinced involve human trafficking, charge human trafficking. And why is that? Because our number one goal in these cases is to protect the victims. And if we can do a case by charging something else, white collar fraud, money laundering, we will do that in order to protect the victims, keep them from having to testify, re-injecting them into harm's way. And in many of those cases, we have not. And so if you ever hear this misperception that, well, because the AG's office or some of our other prosecuting agencies haven't charged a human trafficking case, then it's not a human trafficking case. That is a fallacy. And again, anybody who would say that human trafficking, child exploitation doesn't exist in our community is perpetuating a very irresponsible myth amongst the community. And we expend tremendous resources together trying to educate and wake up the community, again, to these atrocities. And anybody who says, go back to sleep, there's nothing really there, is, again,